All right, now we're getting to the stage of 40 or so, 35, 40 to 65 to 75 or so, 65 to 70 or so. So we're walking into a new stage. Now, we used to say midlife crisis, right? And actually, through research, we've actually found that there really is no such thing for most people as a midlife crisis, especially if you compare it to the crisis of the previous stage of giving up your egocentrism through marriage and kids and career, or the crisis from two stages ago of trying to figure out who am I, that teen stage. In fact, that teen stage is a very stressful time of human development, especially compared to this stage we're going into now, 40 to 65 or 70. What does a 40 to 65 or 70-year-old person do? Well, for them, there's this kind of midlife reflection. Again, we don't call it crisis. It's a time when they look at what their expectations in life were. So maybe in your early 20s, you kind of set these expectations for this is who I'm going to be married to, and how our marriage is going to be, and the kind of lifestyle I'll have, and the kind of career I'll have, and how parenting will be, and how I'll be with my kids, and what life will be like. During this stage, you have a chance to kind of take stock and look at a lot of those things and compare your expectations to your reality. Now, if your reality is really close to where your expectations were, then you feel really good about that, right? And you continue to invest in what you're doing. In fact, it's called generativity. You might continue to invest even into other people. You might take on someone and almost be like a mentor role for them. You might start to teach the Sunday school class at your church, or be the Boy Scout troop leader, or you might be the cheer coach, or whatever that is. You might start mentoring others and taking them under your wing. You might become a community leader and start to give back. Generativity usually involves some sort of giving back to others. That could be in your grandchildren. If you thought you were a pretty good parent and you enjoyed that, you might start to invest in your grandchildren. And I benefited, and I'm watching my kids benefit from great grandparents that just invest so much in my children, and my grandparents invested so much in me, and what a great thing that was. And so that's generativity, when you start to invest. Now, what if your reality falls very short of what your expectations were? Well, then you feel pretty disappointed. This is why I tell people, don't set your expectations in life very high. Set them real low, and that way, you'll always be pleasantly surprised. That's terrible. That's terrible advice, by the way. Don't do that. Let's say your reality fell short of your expectations. Well, great news. You have a fully functioning prefrontal cortex. Do a lot of great critical thinking, reasoning, and all that good stuff, right? You may have a little more time than you've had because your kids are older, or they're maybe even out of the house, empty nest. You also may have a little more money than you did in your early 20s. And so if you want to go back and make some changes, this is the time. That's why I teach in classrooms that are full of students that are in this mid-30s, all the way to late, even as late as 70s. I've had students that they're going back and changing some things, and trying to make their reality match more like what they expected. And so maybe you switch careers altogether and do the thing you've always were passionate about. Or maybe you go back to school and work on that master's degree. Or maybe you'll pick up a guitar and learn to do that. You begin to generate things that might help your reality be more like your expectations. Now, what if you're someone who just, instead of embracing generativity, you don't make any changes in your life, and you don't actually move forward? Well, you become stagnant. If you've ever been to a stagnant body of water can't support life, and in fact, it stinks. There's no inflow, there's no outflow, so it gets this really stinky smell. That person's life begins to kind of stink. They don't do anything new or exciting. They just kind of park it and become very stagnant with their life. So he calls this stage generativity versus stagnation. And we are well on our way then toward our last stage of Eriksons development. I'll catch you on the next video.